Our story for this week, June 13th, is called A Brand New King, and it's found on page 110 in the Storybook Bible. And it's from 1 Samuel in the Bible. Can you tell if someone is friendly by looking at them? Sometimes you can and sometimes you can't. Usually it takes more time to get to know a person. Samuel got help from God when he was looking for a new king. Samuel sat quietly with a sad look on his face. Samuel was sad because God had decided that Saul could no longer be king over God's people. Saul did not have a kind heart. Samuel, how much longer will you be sad? God asked. Samuel didn't know how to get over being sad, but God said, Samuel, I want you to go to Bethlehem. My next king is there. God said, Samuel, you know what a temper Saul has. If he hears that I'm looking for a new king, I don't know what he will do. Take an animal for a sacrifice with you to Bethlehem. When you get there, invite a man named Jesse and his sons to come with you. But how will I know who the next king is? Asked Samuel. Don't worry, I'll show you, said God. Samuel chose an animal for the sacrifice and went to Bethlehem. The people were afraid of Samuel, but Samuel said, Don't worry, I'm just here to worship God. When he saw Jesse, he said, Why don't you and your sons come with me? Now Jesse had some good-looking sons. When Samuel saw Eliab, Jesse's oldest son, he thought, This must be the new king. But God told Samuel, No, not this one. I'll tell you who it is when I see him. I can see people's hearts, and that's what matters to me. Samuel saw 7 of Jesse's sons. Each one looked like a good choice to Samuel. But God just kept saying, No, not him. I see people's hearts, and that's what matters to me. Samuel had seen all the sons. God had not chosen any of them. Samuel asked Jesse, Do you have any more sons? Jesse said, I have one more. My youngest son is out watching the sheep. Bring him here, said Samuel. David came right away. Samuel saw David with his red hair and bright eyes. He heard God's voice say, That's the one. God saw David's heart and knew he was a good person. He will be the next king of my people, declared God. David was still a young man. He didn't know that one day he would be king of all God's people. Samuel poured oil on David's head. Then God's Spirit came to David and stayed with him for the rest of his life. And our questions for this week are, God spoke to Samuel when Samuel was sad. What might God's voice sound like to people who are sad? How do you think David's brothers looked when Samuel poured oil on David's head? Samuel poured oil on David's head. Dip your fingers in some kitchen oil, such as olive oil. What does it feel like? Imagine it running down your face and over your head. Some really good questions to ponder this week. Have a good one, and I'll see you soon.